We had the opportunity recently to speak 2-on-1 with Utah head football coach and BYU alum Kyle Whittingham. It's rivalry week, and nobody understands what that means better than him. And what better time to discuss things like talent gap, what competitive actually means, and the biggest benefit of being in a Power 5 conference. Here's our 2-on-1 with Kyle Whittingham. Coach, when I say the college football season kicks off for the Utah Utes in 1 week from today, what's the first thing that goes through your mind?
Well, first of all, I can't believe each season seems to come quicker than the last, and they're just flying by, and I can't believe that it's already here. It seems like we're just in the bowl season and then spring ball, and now it's time to kick off. Like you said, it's right here on us, but excited to get it going. I mean, our guys are excited. They've worked hard all off season and ready to get things going.
The program perhaps has been validated in a way as never before, the highest preseason ranking in the AP poll, and deservedly so, with 9 wins and returning the quarterback and running back, of course, that defense. Do you feel like you deserve to be a top 15 team in the country right now?
Well, we'll find out. It's all, obviously just speculation and people's opinion. But, the positive is you said it exactly right. We've got some talented players on our team, and it's good to see them get some recognition and some accolades. And I think our brand is becoming stronger on the national scene, and so I think and that ranking is indicative of that. But at the same time, we haven't played anybody yet. Nobody knows for sure, where you stand until you get playing the games. And so we've hopefully done a good job of blocking out the noise and the hype and just going about our business and getting ready to play.
This is perhaps new territory in terms of being the team to beat in the Pac-12, or one of them, right? So how has this season been different in terms of how you handle this pressure and this hype with this group?
Well, we started talking about it way back in May because we had an idea that we were going to get some preseason hype, coming off the South the South Conference champions or the South Division, I guess we call it. But so we started talking to our players about it's nice to be recognized, but again, we haven't done anything yet. What will be as good as the amount of work and effort that we put into the off season. And so far, like I said, they've worked exceptionally well, and it's been a great off season, and now it's time to find out where we stand.
Utah football head coach Kyle Whittingham with us on BYU Sports Nation. What is your specific message to your team as you deal with this first-time expectation of winning the Pac-12? What kind of things are you saying to them on a regular basis?
Well, being able to handle success, I think that's key. And it's harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top. And right now we're on the top of the South Division at least, but you got to be able to handle that and not think you've arrived and you've got all the answers, because there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, we haven't had a chance to get to the Rose Bowl yet or win the entire Pac-12, and so there's a lot of things that we haven't accomplished. We just took a step in the right direction last season, but that's all it was one step, and we need to focus on taking that next step.
Coach, are you telling me that you don't have all of the answers right now?
I am far from having all the answers. Yeah, I may be the furthest guy in the country from having all the answers. Yeah.
Health always important for every team, and last year was unique in that both teams were playing guys that weren't the starting quarterbacks, weren't the starting running backs, yet this is the first game of the season. How do you feel about the health of your team going into game one?
Pretty good. You always get some bumps and bruises along the way in fall camp, and hopefully we'll have just about all of those healed up by game time. We've still got some guys that are a little bit limited, but for the most part, we're coming into the season relatively healthy. We had very few serious injuries, and I don't know if you can ever avoid them completely. I don't think there's ever been a fall that I can remember, at least, where you go into the season without anybody banged up. And so it's pretty typical of this time of year. But like I said, we've been fortunate with the real serious injuries and knock on wood, being able to avoid those.
Coach, with 8 consecutive wins against BYU, understandably, there's this rhetoric developing of a significant talent gap between Utah and a team like BYU. How do you view a conversation like that?
Well, all I know is every year is very competitive, most every year. It seems to come down to the last, series of plays or the last play in some cases. And so I think, whatever disparities or discrepancies between the two programs, and it's gone back and forth through the years, you can pretty much throw those out the window when it comes to this game, because you're going to get the best out of both teams, and this rivalry has a strange way of equalizing everything and making it a battle from start to finish.
Who or what from BYU sticks out to you?
Well, the quarterback, the young quarterback, is obviously a promising player and did some really good things last year. And against us, the thing that I keep telling our team is he ran the ball effectively against us, and we got to try to get that solved this year, because he ran for a bunch of yards and made some key first downs with his runs. And so we've got to try to do a better job of keeping him in the pocket and not letting him escape. But and then they got a very physical offensive line. They're big and strong up front, so they got some things going for them without a doubt.
Andy Ludwig makes his return as your offensive coordinator. At this point in camp, what do you like about the impact he's having on your team and your offense with Tyler Huntley?
Well, I like everything about it, as far as the way the players have embraced it, the way the players have, their excitement to be in the system. They respect Andy. It just feels like they're all in, and that's a great thing to have. That's over half the battle if you can get your players to buy in and believe in what you're doing. And it's not going to be perfect, especially early in the season. I mean, there's going to be some growing pains, but we were excited about Andy when he was here the last time. Didn't want to see him leave. We were undefeated and Sugar Bowl champs his last season here, and he had a great opportunity financially to take care of his family that we couldn't match at that point in time. We were not in a position financially to be able to compete with that. So now that we got him back, he was my first hire as a coordinator, offensive coordinator. I hope he's my last. That's the way I look at it.
Hey, there you go. Defensively, obviously the Utah defense has been fantastic. Lost some key pieces in Marquise Blair and Cody Barton and Chase Hansen. Yet that D line is going to be formidable. Jalen Johnson and Julian Blackman, fantastic in the secondary. How do you feel about the defense overall, and especially the linebackers?
Well, it felt good overall. You never know for sure until you line up and play somebody else, but they've been doing a good job in our competitive situations in practice. It starts up front. Like I said, we got a very deep and talented defensive line, which is really the heart and soul of that defense. We did lose two talented backers in Chase and Cody, Chase Barton and Cody Barton and Chase Hansen. And so those guys leave big shoes to fill, but we feel like Francis Bernard and Devin Lloyd are well on their way to being as productive as those guys were. If they, once they get settled in, I think we got a good set of backers. We're a little thin. We don't have a lot of depth at that position, so hopefully we can stay healthy. But so far so good out of those two starters.
Coach, you've seen this rivalry swing from one end of the pendulum to the other. You played at BYU when the Cougars were the dominant team against Utah, and now Utah has won 8 consecutive. What has changed in the 30, almost 40 years that you've been directly involved with this rivalry game?
Well, that's a good question. I think the stating the obvious is the Pac-12 affiliation. Becoming a Power 5 school. I mean, that opens up a lot more doors recruiting-wise and gives us more of a national presence. Our brand is much stronger now than we were in the Mountain West Conference. I think those two BCS appearances way back in 2005, the Fiesta Bowl, and then in 2009, the Sugar Bowl, got us a lot of exposure and open doors as well. But I think the single biggest thing is the Pac-12 conference and being a part of the Power 5 conference.
Coach, it's great to talk to you. Again, when you figure out everything and have all the answers, just let us know, because we want in on that.
You'll be the first to know as soon as I get to that point. So.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Appreciate you having me on. Thanks, guys.